and the School Lalaji Solutions. India International Education Council is a not-for-profit organization which is working in the field of education. It has collaborators from 12 countries. It aims to create a better world through education. India International Education Council also building quality centers for elementary education, which are approachable for all kids. It is also trying to find best educational practices across the globe and find ways to implement those in Indian institutions. It is creating more awareness on hygiene and learning disabilities. It publishes a magazine called World Education Review and many other educational reports. It aims to build 100 chapters in different cities by 2022. It will soon open its membership for institutions and individuals. It also imparts training for leaders, teachers, students, and parents. So as you all know that this is our 87th session. So far we have organized 86 sessions. In these 86 sessions, we have received 7,862 registrations, 7,000 39 questions on national education policy. We have seen participation from 5 countries: India, USA, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Nepal. From India, we have seen participation from 19 states and 82 cities. We aim to organize 200 sessions. In these 200 sessions, we would be reaching out to 100,000 educators and 20,000 institutions, and 1,000 plus eminent speakers like today's speakers would be joining us to share their perspective on national education policy. So with this, I would request, please join me in welcoming our key speaker for this very special session. Our first key speaker, Dr. Anupama Mishra ji. Dr. Mishra is principal with the Sunbeam School, Varuna, Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. She's a distinguished academician with almost 3 decades of experience. She's also a master trainer in computer with Intel. She was honored by HRD Minister, former HRD Minister Smriti Irani ji for excellent performance in board exams in 2014-15 and 2015-16. She has also received an award for being the 100 highly effective principals of the country. Fortune Forbes magazine, recognized her school under top 50 schools of India for shaping success. It was also awarded to her school under her leadership. She has also received the Best District Principal Award 2016 and 2018 by SOF. She has also received a CBSE Sports Promotion Award in 2014. We welcome you, Anupama ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, 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 ma'am.
Thanks a lot.
Our next key speaker, Dr. Rita Saxena ji. Rita ma'am is principal with the Scholar Mission School, Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh. She has decades of experience in the field of education. She has worked with many prestigious institutions in the leadership capacity. She writes regular articles, on education in leading newspapers. She has been the recipient of a 10-year service award in the institution. She has also received Avantika Sarla Chopra Memorial Samman in 2010, Rajiv Gandhi Education Excellence Award. She was also nominated for a Best Principal Award by CBSE in 2012. She was also nominated for a Mentor and Monitor Award by CBSE in 2012. She was awarded 100 Highly Effective Principals of 2016 by AKS Worldwide. She was also awarded, Progressive Principals of India 2017 by Rethink India. We welcome you, Rita ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you. Our next key speaker, Mr. K.V. Jad ji. Mr. Jad is principal with the PR Formra School, Mathura, Uttar Pradesh, which is a wing of Aditya Birla group of schools. Mr. Jad is a distinguished academician with almost 34 years of experience. He has worked with many reputed institutions like Delhi Public School or Navodaya Vidyalaya, Aditya Birla School, among others. He has attended leadership development programs at Wharton Business School, US, IIM Ahmedabad, Birla Management Center, Mumbai, Singapore Management University, and EFLU University, Hyderabad. He has visited many international schools on educational trip with in US, Singapore, Thailand, and Hong Kong. He has been recommended 3 times for Aditya Birla Chairman Award and once that coveted award. He was also awarded by the HRD Minister for Board Exam Results. We welcome you, Jad sir. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. And
Welcome, sir.
it's really a great platform to express and share our views on the NEP. And today, I'll be talking about education for all, that is inclusive education. And thanks once again for giving this opportunity.
We all are very excited to hear your ideas and thoughts on this. Welcome once again. I'll come back to you. Thank you. Our next key speaker, Nikita Kothari ji. Nikita ji is principal with Arunodaya Public School, Mumbai, Maharashtra. She is a distinguished academician with 2 decades of experience. She has done masters in education, masters in child counseling, and postgraduate diploma in management. She has been recipient of many awards like Innovative Principal Award, Best Headmistress Award by former Education Minister of Maharashtra. She regularly writes, for magazines and newspapers on education. She's also regularly invited to talk on various platforms to share views on education, technology, pedagogy, experiential learning, stress, among others. We welcome you, Nikita ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you. And next key speaker, Ms. Usha Srivastava ji. Usha ji is principal with Sardar Patel Academy Public School, Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh. She is double MA with English Literature and Economics and BEd. She has been working, she has worked with many reputed institutions like Sunbeam School, Mughal Sarai, and Devi Lohaghat, Uttarakhand. She has been awarded and recognized for her contribution to the field of education many times. Welcome you, Usha ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you. Our next key speaker, Mr. Sunil Dangi. Welcome, Usha ji. Our next key speaker, Mr. Sunil Dangi. Sunil Dangi ji is co-founder and CEO of eMango Solutions. Sunil ji is an IIT graduate from IIT Kanpur. He is having master's degree in mathematics and scientific computing. He is an actuary and a member with the Institute of Actuary, United Kingdom. He has worked with institutions like ICICI Prudential, HSBC, Financial Risk Advisor at Ernst & Young, India and United Kingdom. He has been an entrepreneur for the last 6 years in telecom, food, and education sector. He is doing research on career counseling for last couple of years. Based on that research, he along with his team have come up with this wonderful solution called eMango, which is a digital career counseling platform. So we welcome Sunilji. In fact, on behalf of Sunilji, his co-founder, Mr. Nitin Nagpal, would be joining us today. I welcome you, Nitinji. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Rajul. Thanks a lot.
Welcome, sir. Our next key speaker, Mr. Savio John. Mr. Savio John is National Head of Quality with Torrens. Savio is a professional musician, is specifically a singer, songwriter, guitarist. He's been performing since a very young age and has toured multiple cities performing in at various venues. He's also a gospel musician and has featured on multiple TV shows. He is currently working with the Torrens Music and heading quality and delivery excellence in India. Since the past 8 years, he has been working with institutions engaged in vocational education, handling business development, strategy, and implementation. Savio has always been vocal about making music a compulsory subject in schools, as the creativity, discipline, and communication that it demands would help students become better individuals. Savio has authored the vocal curriculum for Torrens and conducts a vocal workshop across various schools. So we welcome you, Savio. Thank you for joining. So with this, now I would request all our key speakers, if we can have your opening remarks. After that, we'll come back to you for your main talk. That would be for 8 to 10 minutes. So now I would request, Anupama Mishra ma'am, if I may begin with you, if we can have your quick 1-minute opening remark. Anupama Mishra ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. And I'm elated to have such a platform where wonderful colleagues are there. Probably Rita Saxena ma'am, I would have met on various platforms. That's what I feel now after reading her accolades and the awards. So greetings and a very happy new year to all the fellow mates, all the colleagues, those who are here. During this pandemic, during this COVID-19, in the last few months, what I have experienced as a head of institution, that the person who had put in most of the efforts, the person whom we as the principals, we as the directors have put lot of pressure on or pushed them to an extent is the teacher. The teacher has been the one who, whatever the schools would have closed, but those are the people who never let the education stop. The learning continued. So kudos to all the staff members, all the teachers who actually took up the challenge. Even Hindi teachers whom we thought never would be able to touch computer, now they are using Jamboard. Now they are using Padlet. They are using different, tech tools to make learning happen so effectively. So I'm going to talk about what NEP expects in the teacher education today. And teachers are the ones who are truly shaping the future of our children. and therefore the future of our nation, the most respected member of the society, the best and learned ones. So, as they are expected to pass on their knowledge, skills, and ethos optimally to the students, the quality of training, recruitment, deployment, service conditions, and empowerment of teachers is not where it should be. And therefore, the quality and motivation of teachers does not reach the standards where it could be. So, respect for teachers, high status of teaching profession must be revised, restored. And of course, I will be talking, little later. These are just the introductory remarks like I had to give. I would be talking like what as per the national education policy, what the government is expecting to, and where we should carry them forward with lots of motivation, lots of aspirations, and making them more empowered to innovate. Thank you and Jai Hind. We'll meet soon again. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'll come back to you, ma'am. Thank you. And absolutely, we all agree with you, ma'am. The teachers are the most important component of society because they have the power to shape the society. And we all agree with you that teachers, are the, the real Corona warriors. They saved our nation. They saved the humanity. Apart from the health workers and the other officials. So thank you, Anupama ma'am. I'll come back to you. Now I would request Rita Saxena ma'am. Ma'am, if we can have your quick 1-minute opening remark, Rita ma'am. You are on mute, ma'am. Rita ma'am, you are on mute. There is an icon on the on your screen, ma'am. That that my speaker icon. If you can just click that.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible, ma'am.
Yeah, this is that pandemic time which really taught all of us to be techno friendly, and still sometimes something happens somewhere and nobody knows what can happen. Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Rita Saxena, Principal, Scholar Mission School. They have really introduced with too much of I must say ornaments to our names. We are not like that. We are just teachers still. And I would like to say that really this new education policy is really a point of debate among the teachers, among the stakeholders, among the principals and directors and all. Reason behind, we are going to see a lot of change during these coming 2-3 years. As ma'am said right now, that teachers are the first one who have been really, I must use one word, tortured during this time of pandemic. I do agree with you, ma'am. They are really being tortured by us to continue with the classes, to continue to learn the technology. And I must say it proudly that everyone has made it happen. That is really, we are really proud of our teachers, not only in my school, everywhere. I know the one who has not touched the computers right from the beginning to this age of 52, and they are doing very nicely with the classes. Maybe it's Hindi, English, arts, sports. That is the thing. We can never say that everything was negative during this pandemic time. There are still lot of positivity that really that has pandemic time has taught us, and we always should have the silver linings. every negative aspects have some positivity, and we are ready to get that in the form of new education policy this time with the discussion. I would like to discuss what all changes we are going to have in our schools with this new education policy this time. So lot many changes are expected. In case it's possible, I would like to throw light on some of them. With this, I would like to say thanks to the organizers. They have really worked very hard right from the beginning. I was seeing it is 87th webinar organized by them. Really, my heartfelt thanks to them. They are really enlightening to the education fraternity with this new education policy. In fact, everybody doesn't go through the large literature provided by the MHRD. But once we have the that kind of webinars and seminars and discussion forums and debates, really the things are easily absorbed by each and every one of us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nita ma'am, for your inspiring words. And we absolutely agree with you that the teachers at the same time have evolved to a huge extent. But certainly they are the people who have suffered the most, in various aspects.
Yes.
So absolutely agree with you. So in that given circumstances, their contribution becomes even more important and more valuable. So they deserve huge accolades. They deserve that. So thank you, Nita ma'am. We'll come back to you. Now I would request KB Jad sir. Sir, welcome once again. We can have your quick opening remark. You are on mute, sir. Okay. I believe Jad sir will take 1 or more minute. I would request Nikita ji has joined us. Nikita ma'am, if we can have your quick opening remark. Jad sir, I'll come back to you after this. Nikita ma'am. Nikita ma'am, you are on mute. Yep. So Kulbhushan sir is ready. I believe this is the opening. Kulbhushan sir, your opening.
So should I start?
Yes, you are audible. Kulbhushan sir, your opening remark.
So my opening remark, year
2020 began with lots of surprises, and both positive as well as negative. But I think this education policy, NEP 2020, was
something which you can call as a silver lining among all bad things that happened. Because, it's a very historic and omnibus document policy which has come, which has seen the light of the day after 34 years. And the topic on which I am going to speak today, which is inclusion of equity in education in NEP, I think it's a landmark initiative. We always talk about equality in education, but it is very rare that somebody talks about equity in education, because equity is something which is really very much required. We may give equal opportunity to everybody, but are we giving the equity? That is more important. Now, for example, if we ask people to sort of, pluck flowers, pluck a fruit from the tree, but their height is not equal. So opportunity is equal, but the equity is not there. So we have to equip them first properly so that all of them are within the reach of the tree, then it is an equity. So I think, we have to give that scaffolding, that support system to our children, to our system, so that it is an equal opportunity to everybody, irrespective of the background of the child and irrespective of your, gender,
Right.
Whatever is your background.
Right.
Now, so should I start my presentation now, or I'll get some other time for this thing?
Right. So I'll come back to you for the main talk. This is just the opening.
जो ना समझ में आए तो उसके लिए अलग से रखो, इनसे डांस भी सीख लो additional.
So
ठीक है, नौशीन राम में सिखाती
so as Jad sir, I will come back to you for the main talk. This is just the opening remark part.
Okay,
So
fine.
let me first take the opening remarks from all these speakers, then I'll come back to you. So
Okay.
as Rita ma'am said, like teachers, played that important role. So there is one teacher who have joined us. So might be she's at the same time teaching and also joining the session, teaching and learning at the same time. So
So the
now
written
I would,
presentation will be later.
right. I'll come back to you. Yes, Kulbishan sir, I'll come back to you. Let me take the opening remarks from all the
Fine, fine.
participants. Now I would request Nikita ma'am. Nikita ma'am, if we can have your opening remark. You are on mute, ma'am. Nikita ma'am, you are on mute. Okay. Meanwhile, I would request Usha ma'am if we can have your opening remark.
Yeah, sure. Very good morning to all the key speakers and the participants. First of all, I would like to congratulate the whole team of School Lalaji Group for successful completion of the 86 sessions on NEP 2020. So today, it is my pleasure and honor also to be here on this platform. As we know that teachers training is the most highlighted area in the new education policy 2020. So today I'm sharing my views on teachers training and empowering and enabling teachers to improve equity and outcomes for all. So my opening remark is empower teacher who empowers students. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Usha ma'am. I'll come back to you. I see the message of Nikita ma'am. Nikita ma'am, you can unmute yourself. So there is an icon on your screen. Uh, you know, if you just click that icon and you would be unmuted. So I'll come back to you, Nikita ji. I would request if you can try uh, you know right. So now I would request Mr. Nitin Nagpal. Nitin ji, your opening remark.
Thank you, Rajul, and congratulations for bringing all of us together. Very good morning to all of you. NEP has been discussed from various perspectives already. Uh, According to me, our education system, especially in the last decade, had become outdated in the ways we used to teach and assess our students in schools and colleges. There was a gap in real world requirements and what was taught. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that NEP, if executed in right spirits, will bring revolutionary changes and fill the gap between what is taught and what is required. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Nitinji. Absolutely. Many people have maintained that if executed well, execution is going to be the key. So, thank you, Nitinji. I'll come back to you now. I would request Mr. Savio John. Savio, your opening remark.
Very good morning, everybody. Good morning, Rajal ji. Thank you for having me over for this session. And I would be talking about music specifically and how music is important and adds value to the life of children. Going through the NEP, I have seen that it has mentioned over 20 times just the word music. And we, being music solution providers, find it a very, very welcome move. And the NEP talks about formally introducing arts, classics, history, literature, and other performing arts. And I feel that all these courses, if formed well at the fundamental level, will help children, go ahead and make proper selection of course choices later on. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Absolutely. This is this NEP perhaps is the first time when the government has made a concerted effort to put attention on that extracurricular part of education. So which is now called the co-curricular part, which was earlier also called the co-curricular, but now that it has got the institutionalized attention from the government. So thank you, Savio. We will come back to you. I would like to check with Nikita ma'am, if you are back. Nikita ji, if we can have your opening remark before we begin the main talk session. Nikita ji, are you back? Okay, so Nikita ji is not back yet, I believe. Right, so now I would request Anupama Mishra ma'am, Before I formally invite you for your main talk, I just would like to share the learnings which we have had during our last 86 sessions. Almost every speaker, every participant, have maintained that this is a wonderful document. This document has the potential to place India, into that coveted position of Vishwa Gyan Guru. But almost everyone, apprehended, or they showed, their fear that execution is going to be very, very challenging. Many believe that execution in rural parts would be highly challenging, and many other believe that it would be a huge challenge to the government schools or the budget schools. Of some believe that finance would be a challenge. Many believe that teachers training would be highly challenging. Many education leaders gave the example of CCE. How that was a wonderful initiative, but got failed due to poor execution. So I see that Nikita ma'am has joined us. So before I invite Anupama ma'am for our main talk, I would request Nikita ma'am if we can have your opening remarks. Yes, you are unmuted now.
Good very thankful to Raj, all the dignitaries, and I'm happy to be as a panelist. Yes, it is that he should have continuous process, as we never anticipated the COVID will bring so many changes. With that, from talk board to online mode, and now you're to each other. I congratulate Rajul Singh, sir, that you have back to back so many webinars. This is third time I'm again joining to and more. Thank you so much.
Nikita ma'am, your voice is heavily breaking. I would request, if you can just quickly log out and log in again before we come back to you for your main talk. The voice is breaking. So I could understand that you are showering or those praising words to us. So I could apprehend that. You're saying good talk, good things about it. Right. So please do that. Now, I would request Anupama ma'am. Ma'am, over to you. I would request all our speakers, while interpreting national education policy, if you can also share, if you can also suggest, some kind of a best practice or some kind of a suggestion which we all can try to implement in our respective domains. So over to you, Anupama ma'am. Please unmute yourself and over to you. Ma'am, you are on mute.
Thanks, Mr. Rajul, for giving this chance. So I would begin with Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sachat Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah. So from this platform of School Lalaji, I actually want to salute all the educators and the teachers who stood with the world, not only India, with the whole world, to let the learning happen and let the young generation continue to receive their formal and informal education through various platforms. Everyone tried their best. But what I had been talking before, that our teachers, our educators are not being revered, not being respected as much as they deserve to be. Parents also try to encounter at different fronts, mainly for the fees they had been encountering, for any little issue related to the child. There is a loss of connectivity. There is a online paper that has not got submitted. The teacher becomes the victim. Any task that is not complete in the campus, paper has not been submitted on the time, correction not done, delay in reporting, again the teacher becomes victim. we all need to understand that yes, teacher is also a normal human being, but with a very, very big heart. Sometimes their children are not well, but they work for the well being of our students in the classroom, ignoring their own children. So, the way national education policy has given so much of importance not only for the enhancement and empowerment of the teachers, but also they have categorized how we should go about making our educators and teachers more powerful, more motivated, and more energizing. I'm just going to present a very small PPT for you all. Is it visible, sir?
Yes, it is visible, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Just a second, just a second.
No problem. Take your time, ma'am. So meanwhile, Mr. Sunil Lange has also joined us. So welcome, Sunil ji.
Thanks, Rajul.
Welcome, sir. Yes, ma'am. Anupama, your screen is visible.
Okay. So, the national education policy talks about the emphasis that they have given about improving teacher education. They talk about all teacher education programs to be conducted within composite multidisciplinary institution, not only an institution that is related to one particular stream or one particular subject. It wants the teachers also to go through the new and comprehensive National Curriculum Framework for Teacher Education. NTA, National Testing Agency, takes over the responsibility for admission to B.Ed. It talks about, stringent action to be taken against substandard standalone teacher education institutions. The institution sometimes are not recognized by the government, but they keep providing different degrees to the teachers, pretending to make them a perfect educator. But once the teacher has qualified the particular degree or has got a certificate, actually it doesn't become applicable further. National higher education to function as single point regulator for higher education sector, inclusive of teacher education. It also talks about only educationally sound, multidisciplinary, the way we CBSE has just now introduced art integration into different subjects after pairing one state to the another, and integrated teacher education programs. It means where the teacher education program is embedded with the latest technology and latest methodology of teaching and learning processes in the classroom that has to be made available. Merit-based scholarship to facilitate the teachers, the educators' learning in the more effective way. They also offer scholarship for 4-year B.Ed integrated course. National mission for mentoring with a large pool of outstanding senior and retired faculty. The teachers, those who have already got retirement, but had been a very good profile, a very powerful profile, very powerful performance throughout their tenure of working, should be made available to mentor this teacher so that real life experiences can be shared with them and these teachers start getting trained for the future test, TETs at all stages that need to be strengthened. teacher recruitment and deployment. Of course, teacher eligibility tests for all teachers across foundational, preparatory, middle and secondary stage, both in the public and private schools. They become imperative because just before few days, we had our Sahodaya conference also at Bangalore. That was a virtual one. And there was a lot of emphasis given on what are the norms that has to be applicable in the teachers' recruitment and deployment. Online computerized system for teacher transfers to ensure transparency. Test score and demonstration. What we do right now, like if there is a teacher interview, we give a topic for the teachers to write. And of course, we do take a class demonstration. Now, the demand of the time is that we also have online and offline demonstration of the teacher before we put the recruitment and give the appointment letter. Developing specialization for subject or the general teachers, teaching children with the special need, or during pre-service teachers preparation, we give them a complete training of our systems, our methodology, minimum of 6 days before we bring them into our system. A school has to train the teacher with its own system to make the teacher not only comfortable in the campus, but also compatible enough to go along with the other fellow mates in this journey. Subject score from TET or NTA test and classroom demonstration to be taken account for recruitment of subject teachers. NCTE, that is in the process. They said probably will be applicable from year 2022. We had the address by ex-chairman Miss Anita Karwal, and they again talked about NCTE to be restructured as a professional standard setting body under General Education Council. And let's hope that we get it so that even the work of the institution heads also becomes little easy and little more clear. When it comes to empowering teachers, so what the school should be doing, what the institution should be doing. A technology-based comprehensive teacher requirement planning forecasting exercise to be conducted. I'm removing here by each state, by each institution. The way we asked our teachers to go on the virtual platform, either it was a Microsoft through teaching through Teams, either it was through the G Suite classes, or some of the schools went through the School Mitra. So there were several platforms, but making teacher comfortable enough to access those platforms, getting them trained, taking the classes, and not only taking the classes, also conducting objective, subjective unit tests, their formative and summative assessment, though these are not right now the terms to be used, their half-yearly examination, putting on their report, everything was, handled just because of the technology that was so individual friendly that the teachers were able to do it. Teachers to have more autonomy in choosing aspects of pedagogy in classroom teaching. Yes, we can have a set pattern. We can have a set pattern of, either it's lesson planning or IBLDs. IBLDs are integrated blended learning designs for the classroom teaching. So we can give them a particular format, but the creativity there has to be coming from the teachers. They can mold it according to the need of the students and also their own intelligence. So that liberty we will have to give to the teachers. Career growth in terms of motivating your teachers, not only to go for different trainings that are available in Diksha or under Nishtha, CBSE portals, but also from the outside agency. You will have to push your teachers. As a management member, you will have to plan different projects that the teachers can take in. National Professional Standards for the Teachers by 2022 I already talked about it. Improving service environment through better infrastructure at school. As the head, as a part of the management, little things that you provide you in them in your campus, starting from a cup of tea to making them little comfortable in the staff room, or having sometimes bubble time with them, having little informal talks with them, makes them comfortable. Having one-to-one interaction with the teachers, even for 1 minute, makes them feel at home and they get more connected with the institution. Because connecting with the school and the children, these are two important phases that a teacher has to cover to be comfortable. That's what I feel. And of course, academic leadership positions to be made available for the teachers. And I know this has to be like everyone would agree. Any teacher teaching in your class, if promoted as a coordinator, as an academic head, would have better command over the academic leadership than a person whom we appoint immediately from a new system. So always there has to be a lot of opportunity for the teachers to grow in your system, and minimum 50 hours of continuous professional development to be completed for the teachers. I would go a little faster. The various factors that lie behind low faculty motivation level must be addressed to ensure that each faculty member is happy, enthusiastic, engaged, and motivated. When the people, when your staff members will feel, will be full of all this feeling, they will feel connected and they will be happier to work with you. And now this is a just little, diagram that we have made for a truly invested faculty to empower your teacher. Have low student-teacher ratio, no excessive teaching duties, adequate time for interaction with the students, allow them to research. The more they research and bring it to the classroom, they feel more empowered. They feel upper hand on the subject as well. Then monitoring and helping in the school activities, individual and generally not transferable appointment. They need to be given such kind of trust. They need to be given such kind of empowerment that they feel associated with you and your own institution. Empowered faculty they will be able to design their own curriculum. They will be self-motivated. They will have a framework, freedom for creativity in either assessment pattern or preparing assignment or giving any task, which will result into more and more research-based work and innovative teaching in your classes. Here, what I would just request everyone, all the people on the platform, let's talk more about the promoting them. Let's talk more about recognizing them, and let's bring them into institutional leadership position so that they feel that they are at such a place where they are valued, they are loved, they are given importance at such a level, and that will only be possible. We will be able to create leaders of tomorrow by identifying them, training them for the leadership positions, never leadership positions to remain vacant, and they are the ones who will aim to create a culture of excellence that will motivate and incentivize outstanding and innovative teaching in your classroom. That's what I dream for, and that's I vision for, making the institutions a better place, a wonderful place where not only the teachers, but we are also going to be a little comfortable, and the world is going to be a better place for everyone to live in. Thank you, Mr. Rajul. Thank you, School Lalaji, for adding me on this session and giving this opportunity that was somewhere, hidden within my heart, and I wanted just to express to the fellow mates. Thank you. Thank you for getting connected.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anupama ma'am, and Nikita ma'am is applauding on behalf of all of us, for that passionate remarks and readings. And we completely agree with you, Anupama ma'am, when you say that this NEP, has a potential, to redefine teachers training. Absolutely, in our country, you talked about, a mandatory CPD of 50 hours training for, school leaders and teachers. That's going to be very important. You also talked about that more and more flexibility and liberty needs to be given, to teachers so that they can enjoy themselves and they can, special efforts also need to be made at the part of institutions so that teachers can feel connected, with the institution. They can feel that, that part of the growth. You also talked about the challenges teachers face during the pandemic. Absolutely, we all agree with that. They face challenges at every front. And you also talked about that various initiatives which are being mentioned in NEP. New institutions for teachers training, teachers recruitment, and many other school leaders have also, shown also hope that if this national education policy executed well, so in next some years we would see that, the bright and most talented people would be attracted towards this, this wonderful profession called teaching. So thank you, Anupama ma'am. I'll come back to you with questions, and I'm sure your passionate talk will encourage participants to raise more questions. So I'll come back to you with that.
Thank you.
Right now, thank you, ma'am. I would request Rita ma'am. Rita ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Anupama ma'am. You have really given a very delighted speech, and moreover, it was totally experiential learning for us. We all are experiencing the same during our tenure as a school principal, that how to motivate the teachers, because they are the students' future. So very nicely said that the teachers should be promoted, and they should they should make, we should help to make them feel the part of the institution gradually as the part of the nation as well. Teachers, I think in this national education policy, teachers have been the source of attention, or the central source of attention during this execution part and during administration part and all. In my session, I would like to draw the attention of all the teachers and the principals through this new education policy, what all changes we are foreseeing in our schools. First of all, when we talk about the schools, we should not be concerned only with our private unaided schools, those who have all the infrastructure and everything required for a good education with good lot of students and the parents. We should, when we are talking about the national education policy, we should think from the grassroots level. As it is said in this new education policy, that fine, the aim is making India a global superpower of knowledge, right? We all will put at least one stone to this direction. If it is possible, then we'll feel that yes, we are successful. In this regard, we are going to see lot many changes during the school education system. In this school education system, previously, as we have seen, there was two demarcations, it was 10+2 education. 10+2 education has really didn't take care of the education at the grassroots level, means till age of 5. But it is very nicely recognized by the policymakers and the educators and people sitting in government that this is the foremost age where the complete development of a human brain is possible. When the child is still 5 years, within this 5 years of stage, the complete brain faculties develops. And in the later stage, they only further develop, but they do not have the special capabilities, special capacities at that time. In case we can take care. In fact, I must say that in our schools, so we are looking after the pre-nursery and nursery till class till pre-nursery. We have the children till 5 years of age. We teach them well. We teach them the language also through playway method. Every way that is possible, we are doing that. But again, I must say, think of the schools. Think of the places where children do not go to school till age 5. What do they learn? They develop their mental capabilities, but not in the right direction. For that, I must praise the government to take the initiative in this regard to take care of the children till 5 years of age, not only in the form of education, not only in the form of mental development, but in physical development also. Government is looking after for their nutrition and their education both, because healthy mind goes with healthy body only. That is a good initiative, and that is the first demarcation of this new education policy. So we should also be very careful while handling these small kids, that we should not only develop their, we should not give them only cognitive development, but physical, moral, and all other, their even emotional development also should be taken care of during these first 5 years, especially. Because this is a time when they learn maximum things by stories, by conversation, by playway method. So I think it is a good initiative. If it goes to the disadvantaged group also, in our schools we are really providing them all the facilities, but if the facilities can be provided to the small villages where children, where parents think he is still so small, till the age of 6 or 7 we'll send them to school. No, if we could teach them the right way, right time to send the school, and school takes school again, there is one constraint, that can we arrange that facilities in the small towns, villages, or the areas where these hi-fi schools are not there. If government really spends the good percentage of GDP for education and its development, it will be really helpful for the future of India. Next comes the age of 8 to 11, means 3rd to 5th. They say that the child should be able to have all numeric abilities as well as reading and all till class 3rd. I think we are providing them. In our schools, it's not the problem at all, but in government schools, you talk to the child studying in class 6th or 7th, not able to read the book, Hindi even. I have been to a number of schools where where English is introduced at the level of class 6. And if you want to make them go to IIT and go at the international level and compete with others, will it be possible? They do not learn the language right from the beginning, and then they are expected to have good results and good placements. For that, we have to rethink it. As there is one provision in this new education policy that till class 5th, there must be the regional language textbooks and books and curriculum to make the children comfortable with the studies, and there should be no extra dropouts. But I think we have to rethink on this topic. It's fine. It will give the comfort zone to the children speaking their mother tongue. But with this, they should be taught the international, at least one international language as well as a medium of instruction. This is my suggestion. I don't know how many of people are agreeing to it or not. But my suggestion, because I have seen, I have seen when I was there in Kota, I have seen the students I must say very bright, very good, but just due to language constraint, they were not able to compete in the competitions well. That's the thing, that if we, as it was a 3 language formula, if we make one language Hindi, the other one their regional language, and English compulsory right from the beginning, I think it will be more appreciating by all. Maybe in case again I go to the lower level, if the teachers are not available, so this is our responsibility. We can take it as a social responsibility to go to the villages and provide our facilities to nearby. If we all will take the pledge to help others in this way, I think that deficiency of the teachers for English in the lower villages or the towns can be taken over. This is just my suggestion. In case we can do, because we all have corporate social responsibility. If we are running a good school, we can help at least 2-3 schools nearby. So that way we will be helping to the government also for this reason. And next thing I would like to share, that next year is 10th to 12th. Yeah, means that 4 years of education. Very recently we had a CBSE session also, and really we are going to see lot of changes in these classes. Their complete system is about to change in next 2-3 years. Maybe it's their classroom teaching, maybe it's their assessment pattern, maybe their examination pattern. It will be completely changed from rote memorization, theoretical learning, to experiential learning and learning based on practicals. Yesterday we were discussing on the same forum, then what will be the shape of the report cards? We got the message that report cards will also be changed entirely. One report card will be provided by the teacher. The other report card, the child himself or herself will be making on the basis of self-assessment. Then with the help of the parents, it will be a graphical representation of the child's development that will be shown in the report card. Then somebody asked, then what will happen to RTI? Every time you do something, you have the pressure through RTI, how you have done it. Now, as ma'am said, the teachers will be empowered. They also have given the assurance that these things will be taken off from the public disclosure. Means that teachers will be empowered to learn, to develop, to gain the knowledge. It will not be shown publicly how it has happened. Again, there is one constraint. If any teacher is biased with anyone, then what will happen? It happens sometimes. Teachers are also the human beings, though they never favor anyone, they never oppose anyone. They are always the well-wishers of the students, but sometimes, somewhere, such kind of mentalities develop. Then they said there must be some measures which will be taken, which will be given to take care of such kind of problems. So we are hopeful. Let's see how it happens. And that your agencies, examination agencies and other reform agencies are preparing the report cards, and they will be sending us for the review and give the feedback on that. We'll see how it will happen. But still, all these things are there in our mind with this new education policy. And it is very natural. If we are going to change something, definitely we have a little apprehension about it, how we will do it, as you must remember, you must be remembering that when we had the CCE pattern, when it was implemented by CBSE, everybody was quite against it, that the schools have been empowered in such a way that they will be taking complete decisions about their children. Assessment will be also done on that basis. But gradually we adapted. But anyhow, it is being changed. But I think the same thing will happen once again when we will have the self-assessment as well as teacher assessment as well as parents assessment for the development of the child. Then we'll be combining them into a graphical representation of the report. Let's see what will be the shape for the report card in class 10th and 12th. The other thing,
I would request ma'am, because we have also received many questions. So
Yeah.
we allotted 10 minutes for one speaker so that we can have sufficient number of questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
So,
fine.
you can take one
The
more
other,
point.
I'm just finishing it in 1 minute. These were the main changes which we were worried about. That's why I shared it with everyone with this
Absolutely.
communication policy. The other thing is one thing that is really with us to think about: how will we manage the emotional question of our children? That may be my question to my other fellow members too. With this question, I would like to hand over to the other fellow people to
Thank
share
you.
their views on
Thank you. Thank you. Rita ma'am, it was a delight to hear your ideas. You talked about very important part. You also, tried to, share the picture of future schools. So you also talked about very important, initiatives which are there in NEP, and they are going to play a very important role in changing the entire ecosystem. We talked about that NEP has a potential, if executed well, to through NEP, government has focused or given attention to the physical, emotional, and mental development, for our students. You also talked about that the huge challenge of resources is there in government schools, and you also encourage that we should have we should include any foreign language at the school level. You talked about that in future assessment would be absolutely different, and that would help us, in reshaping our education. So thank you, Rita ma'am. I'll be coming back to you with questions. Now I would request Kulbhushan sir, over to you, your ideas. Kulbhushan ji.
Hello.
I would also request Kulbhushan sir, why after sharing your interpretation, if you can also try to answer Rita ma'am's question, how we can develop more emotional, capabilities or capacities among our kids, after finishing your points.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible, sir.
Okay. So I'll just take 1 minute to start my PPT. Just a second.
Please.
So that just So is the presentation visible?
Yes, your screen is visible, sir.
Okay, so fine. Now you see, first of all, again, a very good morning to all the speakers and to you for giving this opportunity. And you see, as I told you earlier also, 2020 began with a lot of surprises, both positive and negative. But there was some lightning in the cloud that was in the form of NEP 2020, which could be considered as sort of a lining among all, some silver lining among all bad things that happened. Well, if you see, NEP 2020 is a historic effort and first, sort of omnibus policy after 34 years. And this is for the first time I can see that, it's not equality that has been stressed, but it is the equity in education that has been stressed. That means every learner matters. That is inclusion and equity in education. And this initiative conveys, the structural change in education system, which aims to make India the global knowledge superpower, ensuring equity and inclusion. Now, if you see the first slide, I think it conveys everything when you talk about equity and equality. I think equality, providing equality in our constitution, in our education is fine. But I think equality without equity is of not much use. because even if everybody gets equal opportunities, but everybody is not equipped well to make best use of that opportunity. Like you can see in this slide, everybody's in the first slide in equality, they are equal, but some of them are not able to pluck the fruit. But when you give them equity, all of them are at the same platform and they can pluck the fruit. Next. Now you see, as the document itself says, education is the single greatest tool for achieving social justice and equality. Inclusive and equitable education, while indeed an essential goal in its own right, is also critical to achieving an inclusive and equitable society in which every citizen can dream, thrive, and contribute to the nation. So the education system must aim to benefit India's children so that no child loses an opportunity to learn and excel because of circumstances of birth or background. This I have taken from the original document of NEP 2020, page 25, 6.1, point number 6. Now you see, the areas of concern presently are that, first of all, while overall enrollments in school decline, it's a general observation that the enrollment declines from grade 1 to 12. And this enrollment is significantly more pronounced for many SCDGs, like, socially and economically deprived groups, with even greater declines, unfortunately, for female students within each of these SCDGs. And it is often more steep in case of higher education. And if you see children from marginal communities, backward communities, particularly tribal communities, often find their school education irrelevant. I think they find there's no point, it's no relevance going to school. And it's sort of foreign to their lives, both culturally as well as academically. Now, again, see, parents have very limited connect with the schools and inadequate understanding of how children learn and the impact of attendance. Whether a child is attending the school or not attending, for certain, group of parents, that is immaterial. That doesn't matter much because they have never connected themselves to the system, to the school. And so it's a sort of disconnect between SMCs, that is, school management committees, and village governance systems to address the need of the child. Sometimes this happens in semi-urban and urban areas also, but mostly it is observed in rural areas, which constitutes 70% of our country. Now there is also issues like peripheral issues like migration for job, for work, particularly migration for laborers, then change in their local languages, school, safe school environment. So these are some of the areas of concern when we talk about equity in education. Now, what are the recommendations, given by NEP? So far, we had heard and discussed about SEZ, that is Special Economic Zones. But now, NEP 2020, it is recommending to create a special education zone for socio-economically disadvantaged groups, that is SCDGs. And these, it is recommended, that in these SEZs, it will be customized support. Not that word customized is very important. Should be designed, and it has to be designed based on these 5 pillars, which I'm going to read it out just now. But it has to be with special emphasis on parental and community engagement. For example, school leadership. Now we need to train and empower our school leadership. Similarly, educators, facilitators, teachers, they also need to be trained. And we need to have customized and well-designed learning resources. Now we have, TLFs, that is, teacher, learner, facilitators. They are also a good source if you talk about facilitating education. So, but they also need to be properly and professionally trained. Then parental community engagement. Now, you see, it is said that to get one child educated, the entire village is involved. So it is not in one island one has to do. So there has to be equal involvement of parent and community. Both have to be engaged in this process. Then, the attendance of children. It is very important that children attend schools regularly. They understand the need of going to school. They understand the importance of attending the school and the importance of getting engaged in this process. And that is where the role of parents and community comes in flight. Now, in this process, there are various, this thing. First, it involves SEDG mapping. Now, without mapping, it is not possible to identify the areas that need to be, brought under the equity of education. Second is engagement of community. That means to involve community to co-create inclusive improvement plan with an emphasis on community participation. And third important thing, as I told earlier also, is parental engagement. That means to engage community leaders, school management committees, to create awareness and ownership in the parents for regular attendance and creating a conducive environment at home. Now, when we say all this, that doesn't mean that, parents have to take over from teachers and start teaching their children. They can do it, that is fine. But they have a very important duty of creating a conducive environment at home that will motivate child to get educated, to learn, to go to school. And equally important is, teachers' capacity building. So building capacity of teachers on inclusive education is very, very important. And equally important is community and parent education. So we not only need to build the capacity of teachers, but also it is very important to educate community and parents in making this, dream of having equity in education a reality. And last but not the least is to review the learning and recommend the changes, if any. Now, we cannot be rigid about any systems. So we have to continuously review our policies, our efforts, our initiatives, take a stock of what we are doing and review it and change this things if required at any stage, so that this system is flexible as well as acceptable to the community and all stakeholders. So I think to conclude, I can say that inclusive education is a dynamic and ever evolving approach that requires ongoing reflection and continuous enhancement. I know it's a very, very difficult and very challenging option. Equality is fine, but equity is very difficult. But at the same time, unless we take the first baby step, it is not possible to reach the ultimate goal. So with this, I would conclude my presentation and thank the organizers once again for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kulbhushan sir. You raised very important points. You talked about that equity and inclusion, and without achieving that equity and inclusion, absolutely, the purpose of any reform or purpose of any effort would be futile to a larger extent. You talked about that decreasing GER, the gross enrollment ratio, especially among the SEDGs, social and economically deprived groups, is a huge concern, and that needs to be solved. And you also talked about the mapping and review. Continuous, the review system is necessary, in order to execute in a most effective way. So thank you, Kulbhushan sir. I'll come back to you with questions, and big thanks for highlighting these points. I'll come back to you with questions.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Right, sir. Now I would request Nikita ma'am. Nikita ma'am, your ideas, your perspective. You are a regular to various platforms. So when you share some ideas, so you represent hundreds of educators. So Nikita ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Rajulji. It's a pleasure to meet you and all the educators on this platform. Earlier, I had some problem net issues, we all face this kind of issues. A wonderful presentation by Anupama ma'am. Thank you so much, Neeta ma'am, Kulbhushan sir. And yes, we all are discussing about NLP. So, first of all, great. Congratulations to all our teachers and our fountainheads who are sitting right in front of us, which we have crossed a big hurdle, 2020. Everyone was talking about when this 2020 is going to get over. I'm sure many states have started partial schools. Partial, that means, yes, 9th or 10th and 12th, basically calling for practicals. However, in Mumbai, we are still under lockdown. So please pray for us that Mumbai, New Bombay area also